Let's get straight into it. Number 1. The calm before the collapse. You're not supposed to feel calm when death is near, but sometimes that's exactly what happens. In the seconds before impact, when your car spins out or you lose your footing at the edge of something high, your brain does something strange. It slows everything down. Sound fades, color drains, thoughts stretch out like they're floating. This isn't panic, it isn't shock, it's a system override. Your brain cuts the noise. When there's no time to plan, no way to escape, the mind stops showing you everything. It filters out anything that won't help you survive. Time distortion is part of this. The brain speeds up how it processes the world, which feels like time is moving in slow motion. You notice tiny details, the angle of the steering wheel, a crack in the pavement, the way the light flickers before the hit. Dissociation kicks in too. It's not always a floating out of body thing. Sometimes it's just a numbness, like watching your own life from behind a glass wall. That emotional silence, it's your brain protecting you from overload. You don't need to feel fear to survive, you need focus. This eerie calm might last seconds, but in those seconds, your brain has already decided what matters and what doesn't. It's not giving up, it's preparing you. Before we move on, hit that subscribe button and tell us where you're watching from. The mind does stranger things than we realize, and it's only going to get darker from here. Number 2. Tunnel vision and sensory fade out. When death approaches, your world doesn't explode. It shrinks down to a pinprick. Vision narrows, sounds fade, touch dulls. It feels like the room pulls away, like your body is receding from itself, like you're slowly slipping beneath the surface of something deep and cold. This isn't fear taking over, it's your brain unplugging you from reality, methodically, quietly, like turning off lights one by one in a long hallway. In moments of extreme physiological stress, oxygen deprivation, rapid blood pressure drops, cardiac arrest, your brain starts rerouting its energy. It abandons full sensory processing in favor of one mission: conserve and protect. Awareness collapses inward. Tunnel vision kicks in. Your eyes stop processing the edges of your field. The world becomes a vignette, blurry at the corners, focused on a single shrinking dot. Your ears might ring, pulse, or drop into absolute silence. You stop hearing your own breath. You stop noticing what your hands are doing. Your fingers go numb, your feet feel distant. Some people say it's like falling into a well. Others say it's like watching their own life vanish behind a curtain. This isn't a glitch, it's an ancient failsafe. A survival response from a time when the only thing that mattered was staying still long enough to avoid being noticed. And sometimes it's not even about survival, it's about mercy. Your brain wants your final experience to be manageable, not engulfed in panic or pain, but filtered, edited and dimmed. A soft blur instead of a sharp drop. And the quieter things get, the more surreal it feels. It's not a malfunction, it's not surrender, it's your brain doing what it was built to do. So, in those final seconds, when the body's giving out, your brain begins the exit process in silence, shielding you from the noise of your own ending. Number 3. End-of-life euphoria. Death isn't always terror, sometimes it's peace, profound, unexpected peace. In near-death experiences, people often describe a strange calm, a warmth, a lightness, even joy, as if the body is falling apart, but the mind lets go. This is more than denial or wishful thinking. It's chemical. When the brain senses the end, it releases a cascade of neurotransmitters, dopamine, endorphins, even a spike in serotonin, the same chemicals tied to love, relief, and bliss. It's a final burst of comfort, triggered not by hope, but by collapse. For some, this creates visions, glowing lights, voices, feelings of reunion. Others describe it as floating, as if consciousness is no longer tethered to pain or gravity. Time stops. Panic fades, and what's left is a kind of emotional silence, a stillness you can feel. Scientists believe it's the brain's last gift, not to save you, but to protect you from the suffering it knows it can't prevent. In this state, fear becomes distant, not because there's nothing to fear, but because your mind won't let you suffer more than you already have. It's easy to call it spiritual, and for some, it is. But underneath the mystery, there's also biology, the nervous system going dark, with grace. You don't beg, you don't run, you drift. And in those final moments, as the systems shut down, the mind might choose peace, not as a miracle, but as mercy. Number 4. Visions, flashbacks, and the life review. Right before death, some people don't just feel peace, they see something. Not heaven, not tunnels, but themselves. Vivid flashbacks, entire memories replayed in seconds, childhood moments, faces long forgotten, places you haven't thought of in decades, all lit up with perfect clarity. It's called a life review, and it's not just poetic, it's likely neurological. When the brain is starved of oxygen or overloaded with stress, it sometimes floods itself with activity. A last surge of neural fire. Think of it like a lightning storm in reverse. One final flare across every corner of memory. These aren't random clips. People often say the memories are deeply emotional. Moments of love, guilt, wonder, fear. As if the brain is pulling not just images, but meaning. It's not always comforting. Some see regret, some feel shame. Others feel intense connection, but all describe it as real. Vivid, full. Not like remembering, but like reliving. Why would the brain do this? Some scientists think it's one last attempt at integration, a way to unify your sense of self before the lights go out. Others say it's just chaos, neurons firing at random. But either way, it leaves a mark. Because in those last seconds, when everything else is shutting down, your brain might show you your life. Not as a timeline, but as a moment. One last time, all at once. Then silence. Number 5. The brain lives on. You're declared dead. No pulse, no breath, no signs of life. But inside your skull, something strange is still happening. Something quiet, something unfinished. Recent studies show that brain activity doesn't stop immediately after clinical death. In fact, in some cases, the brain keeps going, at least for a while. Electrical surges ripple across the cortex. Neurons continue to fire, patterns emerge, flicker, and then fade. These aren't signs of life in the traditional sense, but they are echoes, final sparks from a fading system. This isn't consciousness, not thought, not memory, not awareness, but it's not nothing either. These last bursts are called spreading depolarizations. Massive waves of electrical silence that move across the brain like a slow blackout. Some researchers call them the brain's death signature. They might be the brain's final attempt to reboot, a last flicker of resistance against the inevitable, or they could just be the collapse of a system that's used to running non-stop. But whatever they are, they suggest something unsettling. Even after the heart has stopped, the brain might still be trying to figure out what's happening. And in rare cases, that process might go further than we expect. Some patients who've been clinically dead and then revived describe startling experiences, vivid sensations, detailed memories, emotional clarity. Not vague dreams, but full sensory awareness. They remembered the sounds in the room, the feeling of medical equipment, the panic of being trapped in a body that wouldn't move. It challenges what we think we know about death, about timing, about consciousness, because maybe the moment you're declared gone isn't really the end. Maybe your brain is still catching up, still processing the collapse, still writing its final sentence. It also raises questions science can't fully answer. Can the brain hold on to consciousness longer than the body can survive? Can parts of us observe our own death without being able to speak it? We don't know, not yet. If this stayed with you, you're not alone. The brain hides things we're only just beginning to understand. Subscribe for more like this, and drop a comment. What part chilled you the most? We'll see you in the next one.